Welcome back, guys, to the exercise training sessions. In last session, we discussed about OLEDB component and a couple of other transformations, and we end the session at OLEDB command, right? Now, let's continue from there. So, as usual, I'm doing I'm taking data flow, okay? And I'm not going to execute the complete package. I'm just giving the precedence constraints. Don't worry much about it. So what are the remaining things, remaining transformations that are available, which we have not discussed? The first one we are going to discuss today is lookup. So when we discussed about cache transformation, I told you that the cache transformation is mainly used with lookup, right? So now let me take a lookup transformation and how this lookup transformation works and what is the use of this. How many of you guys know the function lookup in Excel? I think no. Okay, good. Couple of guys know about the lookup. So if you have two sheets, okay, and if you have one column called ID in the first sheet, Excel sheet, and in the second sheet, if you have another column called ID and name, okay, you can look up this ID here, and you can use this name. Correct? Is it correct? I've never used it, but I know there is a function called lookup in Excel. So what this lookup will do is it will go look and pick the value, appropriate value, yeah, VLOOKUP. Okay, so the similar functionality here, lookup. So what lookup will do is it will have some data in its hand. It will go and it will compare with the other data set. Let's say you have two data sets. It's like joining. How joins will work? Very similar to join, but not join functionality. So let's say this is your first table. You have ID and let's say transaction table. You have ID, product ID 1, 1, 2, 2, and so on. But you don't have product name here. So you can get the product name by using the lookup here. If this is the another data set where you have product name, you can use lookup function to get the value, the mapping value from. I hope you remember. I think you practiced the lookup in SSRS. It is very similar to that. So we have a lookup function in SSRS too. So it is a pretty common function. You will find it in all the tools. Now let's discuss about that so that you'll get clear picture rather than me giving so many examples like this. So for lookup, so it is going to look into the other table and get the required value, required column value. So for that I need two data sets. The first one is source. Let me tell you one thing. I have done some homework to create all the tables. Why? Because it is taking a lot of time daily. So I have so many queries, tables, everything I've done. You can see a lot of stuff which we are going to discuss in today's session. So the first thing what I've created is salesperson table. And I inserted a couple of records into the salesperson. Select star from salesperson. Shift home, F5, and so on. Okay. So this is the master table I have created, salesperson, and I have some junk data here. I'll remove it later. And the second thing, I created sales data table, that is transaction table, where I'm having information like what is the sales amount per salesperson. So if you see, the common column is salesperson ID in both the tables, and I have inserted a couple of records for this one, for this table also. Let me execute that. Sales data. If you execute it, you can see a couple of records, and the common column is salesperson ID here and the ID in the master table. Now I'm going to use these two tables to look up. How can I look up these? How can I use lookup to get the value matching who is the salesperson and so on? So the first thing is I'm going to connect the source. That means the fact data in this case. The connection is, I created the tables in sample database, so the connection is sample.sample, which I have created already, and the transaction table is sales data, and you can see the data whatever it is present in the sales data table. You can see ID, salesperson ID, and sales amount. I've given some junk data. Don't worry much about the data. Okay. Now I'm giving this one as input to the lookup. So this lookup is getting one input. Fine. this input will be looked into some other data set where you are going to define the data set. It needs a reference one, right? A reference one, and it will pick the values from there. So the reference one will be defined in the lookup transformation. You can see the connection type here, right? The second option, this guy will say whether you are going to use one more table from the database if you select OLEDB connection manager, or you are going to get the data from cache. Now you should understand why the use of cache, right? Cache transformation. If you have the information in the cache, then you have to choose this option. First, let me go with OLEDB, and then I'll show you an example how we can use the cache also. Okay. So if I select OLEDB, and if I go to the connections, you can see I have to give the reference data set. What is the reference table? The reference table is sales person. This is the master table. So it's like the transaction table will get the master information using this lookup. That is how this lookup works. That is the purpose of this lookup. Or you can specify a query if you want to specify. For now, let me go with the table. And here in the third option, the columns, you have to specify the lookup column. So salesperson ID will be looked into ID, right? It will go and check the ID, and it will get the automatically these columns will come in the output. So I want to get all this information in my result set. So click on OK. So what I have done, I have created the source for the transaction table. In lookup, I have selected the source. I have set the connection for the source master table, and then I have given the lookup. What is the column it has to look up? It has to go and check. Okay, and what columns it has to return. If you go to the lookup transformation, you have one more option here. Specify how to handle the rows with no matching entries. If there is no matching record found in the data set, the reference data set, or we call it as master data set in this case, master table. Okay, what you want the server to do? You want to ignore the failure. If there is no reference, generally you will ignore the failure, or you will redirect rows to error output. So there will be an error output flowing always. So you can redirect the rows to the error output, or you can fail the component, which is not the ideal one, and unless the requirement demands that there should not be any transaction record without having master record, which is like foreign key relationship, then you have to set it to fail the component, or redirect rows to no match output. That means you will get one match output, one no match output, and one redirect error output. You will get three different outputs. Error output is always, it will be there, but no match and match, two outputs will be coming. Let me select no match output here. Okay, and click on OK. Now let me take an audit transformation and see whether it is matching, whether it is getting the lookup, whether the lookup transformation is picking the right values. So what output you want to give as input to the transformation audit? So I'll go for match output. What are the match records? And let me also check whether there are any unmatched records. So for that, I'll take this green line and set the lookup no match output to the audit transformation. So I'll set a data viewer here, and I know there is no record in the transaction table which is not present in the master table, so I don't need a data viewer here. Why? Because it is not going to return any result as per my expectation. So let me execute the task now. So it has executed, and you can see ID, this is the salesperson ID, and this is the sales amount, and the master information is picking from the master table, the reference data set. You can see PIN, country, state, city, and name based on the lookup whatever I have given. I have given the lookup of salesperson ID. You can give more than one column in the lookup, like joining. I have dragged and dropped I have given the reference, right? So you can use more than one column too. So this is how you can look up and get the master information. It's just like join. There is a little difference between inner join and this one. I'll show you that one too. So hope you understood how the lookup works. And in this case, you can see there is no unmatched records. That means every record is matched. all the transaction data, let's say IDs are 8765432 and 1. All the IDs are available in the master table too. Now let me try to create it, insert a record which ID is not available in the master information. Let's say 18 is not available in the master information, right? Master table. So now let me execute it and see whether it will send this extra record into the no match output. So here you can see this is matching one. You are getting a same records, and you can see one record flowing through the no match output. That means the record with the ID, salesperson ID 18, it will go and check in the master records. That is, we have only this information 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But the ID what we are passing from the fact table is 18, which is not available. It will go and it will check. Lookup means it will go and it will check. So if the relevant value is available, then it will go and get the value. That means whatever the column you want. Like if let's say I'm passing the value 5, sales ID 5. So it will go and get Prasad, Bangalore, KA, India, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how the lookup transformation works. Now, let's see one thing. Let's go and cache the master table. Okay. So instead of getting it from SQL Server, I'll go and cache it. What is the advantage? If I cache it, I can use it in many lookup transformations. Let's say I have 5 lookup transformations in which the transaction table will be pointing to the same master table. So in that case, we can cache that master table and we can use it again and again. So I'm going to show you how to cache and how to make use of the same. Okay. Here I'm taking the OLEDB source to connect to the master. I've taken sample database and the table is salesperson. This is the master table, and click on OK. I'm taking a cache transformation. So in cache transformation, I'm gonna use a new connection manager, new cache connection manager, and I'll name it as salesperson, and I don't want cache file, and the remaining columns will be as is. So there should be at least one index position column. I'll take ID as index position 1. Click on OK. And this is the mapping done. So now the information, the master table will be cached in the cache connection manager with the name sales_person. Once it is cached, it will come to this data flow. And in this data flow, instead of using an OLEDB connection manager, I can use cache connection manager to select whatever the cache that I'm using or that the data is present, and then go to the columns. You can see the same columns are showing. Now these columns are from cache, the columns that you are seeing on the right hand side, and all the remaining stuff will remain the same. Now if I execute it, the cache transformation will cache all the master information, and that cached one will be used for this lookup. The advantage is it won't go into the database again and again. Let's see if there is some issue. Sorry guys, I executed only this package. I should execute the cache as well as the other one, right? So let me execute the whole package now. The cache is empty now. I executed only that particular data flow transformation. Sorry, data flow task. So if I execute the package, you can see the first transformation is executed, the data flow, sorry, the first data flow task is executed, and the data, master data is cached, and now it went to the data flow task 7, in which it is using lookup on the cached data. You can see it is returning all the information just like it was returning when we point to database using OLEDB connection. So if I close this, you can see it's a successful. Again, it's 18 records matching 1 and no match records is 1. So this is how you can use either OLEDB connection and cache connection manager to use in lookup transformation. And this lookup transformation is very, very, very useful one to pick up. If you have some, let's say you have a region, and if you want to pick up the country name and country is a master available, you can cache it and you can use it. You can pick the country value. So that is the advantage of lookup transformation. Now let's see what is the difference between the merge join. If you use inner join, how it acts, and what is the difference between lookup transformation. If you see, it's like joining two tables, right? The reference table and the source table, it is joining on returning the data. If you use the merge join, what it will do? It will do inner join, right? If you actually observe ID 1, there is Rupesh, Jersey, New Jersey, USA, and this is the pin code. And there is one more with the same ID, Rupesh, Jersey, New Jersey, USA, and 07306. Let me show you how this output will be if I join these two tables using inner join. Select star from, I'll name it as A, inner join, salesperson, B on A dot, what is the, I think it's salesperson ID, is equal to B dot ID. Let me execute it. If you observe here, first ID, it has $2,000 and ID matching with Rupesh and returning the result. And the same ID, it is getting for ROOPES also. Why? Because these two are having the same ID. That is why the inner join, this is how the inner join works. Okay. So this is how inner join works. But the lookup, if you take the transaction information, it is 1, sales ID 1, 2000, and it will get the first one wherever the ID 1 is available. First one, whether it's Rupesh or ROPS, which comes first, it will take that information and it will ignore the second one. That is why you will get only, you are getting only 16 or some records in the lookup transformation. Sorry, 12 or some 16 records in the lookup transformation, whereas here you are getting double records. Why? Because every ID is duplicated. Let's say for, I'll show you the data first. Select star from sales underscore data. I should have created all these queries also. So what is here? ID 1, salesperson 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times he is there, and 6 times into 1 lookup transformation will be the output will be like that. But here in inner join, it will join twice. I'll show you a quick example. Let's say you have 3 records in your transaction table. Okay, the 3 records ID is 1, 2, 3, and here in the master table you have 4 records. Let's say ID is 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now if you use inner join, it works like this. This 3 will join with this 2 will join with this 1 will join with both the first and second record. Why? Because the ID is same. ID is 1 in the master table, which is a rare case, which will not occur in real. But lookup transformation, what it will do is it will take the first ID and it will match with the first ID that is coming in the master table. That is the first record. It won't care. It won't check the second record. Why? Because already this guy found the matching one. Okay. This guy will go for the matching one and this guy will go for the matching one. So it will pick the first matched record from the master table. So that is the difference between joins and the lookup transformation. So hope you understood the lookup transformation. Okay. Now there are a couple of properties which we need to discuss in lookup transformation. That is the cache mode. If you see here, you have cache mode on top. So this is one of the important property that you need to discuss. The difference between cache mode, partial cache, and no cache is the full cache means all the data from the transaction table, whatever you are getting from the source, okay, everything will be loaded into the cache and it will execute on cache. So everything will be in cache. So whenever the package starts, it will get all the data and it will keep it in cache and it will get the information. So the advantage with this one is the number of connections, the number of hits to the database will be reduced. Okay. And the second thing is partial cache. So when you select partial cache, so the partial cache, if you select this, you can go for only OLEDB connection manager. The advantage of this partial caching is it will get the cache on request. Like let's say when a query requires an ID, so it will go and hit the database and that ID information will be cached. Okay, and it will keep in the cache. And the second request will come. It will go and hit the cache and get the record and it will keep in the cache. The third record and so on. It will follow the same way. If that ID that it is looking for is already exist, then it won't go to the database. That is the advantage of using partial cache. Instead of getting all the data from the database into the cache, it will go on request basis. Whenever a new ID comes in, it will go and check first in the cache whether the ID is available or not. If it is not available, then it will go to the database and it will get from the database. That is partial caching. When you select no caching, nothing will be cached except the last brought record. Okay. So if you want me to explain this in charts, let's say this is your database table and this is your cache. So if you select full cache, all the records will come here and here the lookup will be done directly into the cache. Check and retrieve the result. So whenever there are 100 records means 100 times it will check here, it will get the record. Check here, it will get the record. So that means no need to go back to the only one time it will pull all the data into the cache, and this is the best in the performance one, and no need of lot of database hits if you select cache mode, full cache mode. That means it will get all the data from the table into the cache at once when the package starts, and the lookup will happen in the to the cached data. If you go for the other one, that is partial cache, the partial cache is little different. So how it works is, let's say this is the table you're gonna do, and this is your database, and this is your cache. When ID 1 comes in, nothing will be here in the cache first time initially. So it will go to the database, it will get that ID 1 and it will load into the cache and it will return the result. So next, when ID 2 comes, it will go to the database, it will get into the cache and the result will be returned. The same for the 3, 4 and 5, whatever, how many records it is there. The advantage is the transaction table will have same IDs again and again coming, right? Let's say the ID 1 comes again 100 times. So that time it won't go to the database. It will check here. ID 1 is available already. So it will directly use that ID. The advantage is whenever you are getting the repeated IDs in the transaction table, then the number of hits will be decreased to the database. So that is the advantage of partial caching. And the third option is no caching. That means here this is your table database and this is the cache. It won't cache anything. If ID 1 comes in, it will go here, it will get that ID 1, it will execute and it won't store that. Okay. If it is 2, it will go here, it will get here and it will execute. If it is 3, it will go here, it will get here and it will execute and return the result. The only advantage of ID, no cache is the last brought record will be available in the cache. The last brought record. Let's say ID 10 is the last brought one and again ID 10 came in, then it won't go, first it will check in the cache. Okay, and it won't go there, it will directly get the data using the cached information. So if you observe, partial caching is equal to no caching if you order this table. If you order this, it really helps. Like if you order the transaction table, it will be 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, and so on. So first time it will go for 1. It will get into the cache and it will return the result. And it will go for the 1 again. First it will check here. It is already available. So it will return the result. Again 1. It will check here. It is available. It will return the result. It will go for 2. It will go here, get the 2 and delete the 1. The earlier one will be deleted and 2 will be here. And again 2, it will directly come here in the cache if the data is available and it will return the result. And again 2. So this is how it follows. So in no cache, it will cache only the last record it brought from the database, only the last record. If you order the data of the input of the source based on the lookup column, the column which you are using for lookup, then it really helps in improving the performance even though you are going for no cache option. But partial caching is not like that. Whenever there is a record, it will go here and it will go to the database for lookup. It will get the record and it will cache it and it will store it for future reference. And the same ID comes after 1000 records, let's assume. So it will directly check here. Okay, already that ID is there, so use it. Again, that same record like ID 1 came. If it come back, then it will use the cached information and it will get the result set. So it will use in the lookup. So this is how the partial caching means. Whenever you connect to the whenever the lookup hit the database, it will get that ID, it will get the record and it will store in the cache. Okay. And no cache, it will store only last record. That is the difference between partial cache and no cache. Okay, now I have taken an example Excel to explain the full cache, partial cache and no cache in a better way. I'm trying my best here, so please try to understand. I know I felt like I confused you with the example and with a lot of rubbish lines on the screen. Now this is my master information which will be in the database. Okay. And this is my transaction information which will be in the database. I will use OLEDB connection, OLEDB source to get this information. Okay. And this lookup will have this information. Like if you point to OLEDB, if you use OLEDB connection manager, you can connect to this. So here, what it will do, if you go for full caching mode, let's say this is your cache region. I'm highlighting it in different color. Okay, this is your cache region. So if you go for full caching mode, it will go to the database. It will get the, when you start the package, it will get all the data here into this. It will get this data. And whenever you deal with lookup, so this lookup with this ID it will get. It will join with 2 and it will return the result set. And it will go to the 6 and it will return the result set. And it will go to the 3 here and it will return the result set. So everything will be in caching if you go for full caching. So that is how the full cache works. Now let's see the partial caching, how it will happen. First it will take the 2, it will go here, it will get this record and it will copy in the caching. Okay. So next it will go for 6, it will get this record and it will copy here. So when it copies, that time it is returning the result. So when that time it is the lookup is happening. Okay. And third record, it will return the result. So third record will be copied here in the caching. And first record, it will copy. It will first check in the cache actually. If it is not available, the 1 is not available here. So it will go to this. It will copy and it will paste it into the, it will copy to the caching. So like this, whenever a new record comes in, for lookup, it will go on. First here it will check whether that ID is coming on, is available or not. Let's say 5 is the next request. Okay. When request for 5 lookup 5 comes in, it will go and check here. 5 is not available. So it will go to the database. Okay, it is available here. So it will copy this to the cache here, and it will return the result set. It will add to the result set. Okay. In the same way, next it will go for 4. It will get 4 into the cache. 6. First it will come here. 6 is already available here, so it won't go to the database. Why? Because it has cached it. That is already used in the previous transaction. Sorry, in earlier lookup, right? So it will make use of the cached data. So the caching will be done based on the request from the transaction data or the data that is coming from the source. And next it is 7. 7 is not available here, so it will go here. It will copy the same to the cache and add it to the result set. And then again it is 8. 8 is not available here. 18 not available here. Again 1 comes in. When 1 comes in, 1 is available here, so it won't go to the database. And again 1, it won't go to the database. And again 1, it won't go to the database. And again 1, it won't go to the database. So per record, it will hit the database. Per distinct ID, it will hit the database once and it will copy the data into the cache. So this is how the partial caching works. Now let me delete this guy. Okay. And let me explain you about no caching. What will happen if you select no caching? So when you select no cache, the first lookup, it will take the ID 2. It will go here. It will copy this guy into the cache. And it will go for the next one. ID is 6. So it will go here. It will check in the cache. It is not available. So it will go to here. It is 6. It will copy it. And it will erase the existing one. It will have only one record. That is the last brought record. And third record, it is 3. So it will check here. 3 is not available. So it will go to the database, get it, and copy it to the cache. So what is the advantage of having no cache? There is no advantage. It's poor in performance. So every time the number of database hits, even though I used 1 here, it will hit the database, copy it here. And again, when it comes to here, it will again hit the database. Again, for this one, it will hit the database. But that is not the case with partial caching. So what we can do here is, as we are copying, as it is copying the last brought record into the cache, as it is maintaining in the cache, if you can order this information, order these IDs, like by using select statement, select star from transaction table, order by lookup ID, whatever it is, lookup ID. So how the records will be? It will be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, sorry, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5. It will be in order, I mean to say, right? 6, 6, 6, 6, and so on. It will be in order. So if you see here, if I can order the data that is coming from the source, then it will go, even if I select no cache, I'm talking, it will go here, it will get it, and it will copy this to my cache. And what is the next record? I ordered it. So it is 1. It is available in cache. So it will directly use it. It is available in cache, all these are ones. And for 2, it will go once and copy it here. So this acts very similar to partial cache when you go for no cache by ordering the source data. So this is, a theoretical knowledge. Never ever practice. I've never tried that. So if you want, you can try it. So this is about complete information about the lookup transformation, and I hope you understood the lookup transformation. We have 3 to 4 more transformations to discuss, but due to some technical problem in the GoToMeeting, people are pinging saying that you are not, they are not able to listen, hear me. So that is why I'm ending the session here, and we will continue the remaining transformations like SCDs and fuzzy lookup and fuzzy grouping and term lookup and term. We have 2 more like term lookup and term extraction in the next session. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good day. Bye bye.